Hey everybody, Chris and Mike here, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. In this review, we will be reviewing the books that came out of DC Comics on the week of
September 3rd, 2014, the first week of September.
And with the first week of September comes the first week of DC Comics universe-wide special event. And this year is 5 years later. We are going to be going through all 42 issues of 5 years later. But before we get into the one-shots this week, which then we're going to be doing the comics that aren't one-shots, the one-shots, and then we're going to conclude with the weeklies. First, we have Justice League issue number 33. I enjoyed this issue. The last page was the shocker, though, of this entire book. We have Justice League versus Doom Patrol. All to stop Power Ring. Power Ring finally breaks free of the ring, or thanks to Batman, basically Power Ring is saved, and you get to see Batman in a humongously different light. He takes Power Ring, and then you get to see for the first time in the New 52. I gotta agree with Jay here. The Trinity actually sitting there talking about Lex Luthor, and then you get the most shocking final page in the entire book. Superman shaking Lex Luthor's hand and welcoming him into the Justice League of America. That shock factor alone was worth reading.
Why would he do that?
I don't know. But we're not going to find out any more until next month with issue number 34. I believe 34 should become... I don't know. I think that it's an issue behind.
Well, are they doing the 5 years later also?
Yes, they're doing the 5 years later also. But I believe we're going to get another Justice League book at some point. So they're one issue behind, but really good book. This is the 75th anniversary Batman cover. Like I said, I like this cover. All in all, I really enjoyed Justice League this week. So now we go into the one-shots. Michael, yours is first.
Okay, starting with Futures and Aquaman, issue number 1, with the 3D covers. And why did I check out Aquaman? Well, I just wanted to see, just for myself. So, starts off 5 years from now in Antarctica, where the people, the Atlanteans, thank you, are underwater and they're causing terror, and then out comes Aquaman.
Aquaman's still trying to bridge the gap between the surface world and Atlanteans.
Right, so he knows more about Aquaman because he read him more than I have.
No, I just know the brief.
Well, then. So they're just saying, you know, Aquaman, you're a traitor and you betrayed us all because, you know, like Aquaman, like it was something about, like he didn't want to kill them because they're saying that they're suffering from being angry and there's no reason to kill. So I could give props to Aquaman for that. I mean, that's nice of him and everything. There's like really huge dialogue between, you know, Aquaman just... Well, first of all, they're calling him an ocean freak because of, they saw that on the news. And, is this a shock to you that he's in love with Yawara?
No.
Well, yeah, you get a page that he's in love with Yawara.
So he's not with Mira.
So, yeah, he's not with Mira. Oh, yeah, so then it is a shock then. So, you know, he's just saying, you know, that, it's Mira's job to keep, you know, everything of what's in line, and, you know... He just wants to help, and he just... You know how when in some 5 years later they say, like, you know, what I did then was, you know, a mistake and everything? Like, he just... Like, he just goes to the king underwater, and they're just saying, you know, that he was sorry that he left Atlanta and just for other things, because he was supposed to help...
Atlantis, not Atlanta.
You know, to help rebuild, and he didn't do that. So they didn't believe him, and that's why they obviously call him a traitor. So he gets in a fight with
Mira.
Yeah, Mira. And it's like a huge fight scene there, and the rest I don't want to spoil because...
She brings in the Dead King, you can mention that.
Alright, spoiler, she brings in the Dead King, and now it's going to be continuing Aquaman the Other's Futures at number 1. I guess I'll be picking that up.
We're getting all the one-shots, so yeah, you will be.
And I'll be reviewing it, but if I don't like it, I'm dropping it. But this is okay for that issue.
For me, the weakest book this week was Grayson, issue number 1. Of all the one-shots, I think this book actually made me really consider dropping Grayson in general. So basically, this book goes from 5 years in the future all the way back to when Dick was about ready to go out on that tightrope where the night his parents died. So the beginning of the book, it ends with Dick Grayson being hung. So spoiler alert here, Dick Grayson dies 5 years from now. Like, that really dies. Apparently he's still not Nightwing 5 years later. He's still working with Helena though, but things go terribly wrong. But as you go backwards in time, you get to see how their relationship came to where it was at the end of Dick's life. And it was interesting, but honest, nothing really huge happened. It was pretty boring, and then it gets back to the part where it goes back in time for far enough where it's where Dick is still Nightwing and he's with Batgirl. Then it goes further back where he's Robin and he's solving Clue Master's clue with Batman.
It's nice to see Robin in the suit.
And then again it goes further back where it's Dick trying to join Batman, and then it goes, like I said, further back to where it's the night where Dick's parents were killed, and that's what sets his life into motion to where it is today. If anything, this book kind of gave me the thoughts of dropping Grayson completely, because it's not Nightwing, and if anything, this one-shot proved that it's not going to be anything like Nightwing ever. So the way I feel is, why am I buying Grayson then? I love Dick as a character, but this series just doesn't do Dick justice. So, as a matter of fact, I don't think I'll be coming. I doubt I'll be getting the next issue of Grayson when it comes out next month, unless the description really catches me when I read it.
Alright, Futures End, Trinity of Sin, the Phantom Stranger one-shot, issue number 1, with the cover. In this book, it's actually the last issue because it leads into something
Trinity
else.
of Sin.
Why?
We all know this, Mike. We've all been talking about it.
Alright, well, anyway. Starts off with Phantom Stranger 5 years later, where he gives the last coin as a sacrifice for his powers. And when he goes into the ferry, he meets up with all the villains. Like, you got the Demon Lord Trigon, you got Mr. E from the Constantine series, you even got, from what we saw last year in Villains Month, Eclipso, and all these people you see right here. Here's some artwork. So, they're just, and there's also, what's his name,
Zor-El?
No, yeah, there's Angel Sin Eater, and shockingly Angel Zor-El, who's a woman, and I thought he was a male all this time. But apparently they're all around him because they just want to kill him, and they want just say, you know, to have the truth about him. You know, and you know, like, he just wants to set him on a mission and all that stuff. And here's the thing though, like he wants his amulet to give to him. The Amulet of Origins, thank you. Even Blight appears from Forever Evil Blight that happened recently. And the amulet actually has the dog that gets into Angel Zor-El and appears in this. And he actually, defends him, like saying, you know, all of you judged Stranger fairly, and all this could have been avoided, so, because they thought he was something else. We get a little love scene between Stranger and Elena, or Elena, however you say her name. And she just says, you know, we gotta just move on, you know, because I'm dead and you have to be with that. And that's the end here, and
it's a perfect send-off for the Phantom Stranger series.
Trinity of Sin, which will have Pandora and the rest. That issue I will be getting, Trinity of Sin, because between reading Pandora, Phantom Stranger, and the question that's going to be in it, please don't let Be a Forever Evil Blight again with Constantine, because that'll just ruin it. It'll just ruin it, and I don't want it to be ruined. But it's Trinity 3, so I'm guessing that'll be it. But really great. I really enjoyed Phantom Stranger.
Detective Comics, Futures End, one shot. In this issue, Calendar Man is threatening to do exactly what the Riddler did back in Zero Year. If the person who if they don't deliver, the person who ruined his life, the person who ruined his life, his family life, doesn't show up at Arkham Island, because Arkham Asylum apparently is on an island now, at the given time, he's going to shut down the power in Gotham. So it's up to Batman to go in and save the day. And the first person Batman goes to is Riddler. Apparently Riddler has his own tower. He's I don't want to say kingpin, but he's playing off that he's a reformed supervillain, and Batman obviously doesn't trust him or believe in him at all. So in
other words, he turned over a new leaf.
Right. So Batman basically tricks Riddler into joining him on his quest to stop Calendar Man. And while they're in the boat going to Arkham Island, Batman talks about a story where he actually showed up and saved Calendar Man's son from Calendar Man because he was a very abusive person. So we're led to believe, and Riddler's led to believe, that the person that Calendar Man wants is Batman. So they break into Arkham Island. There's a part in the book where there's a humongous fight because you got tons and tons of supervillains. They literally come out of the sewers and they come face to face with a ton of supervillains. Finally, Calendar Man shows up, and spoiler alert, here's the big twist. He doesn't want Batman, he wants Riddler, because he blames Riddler for what happened. He said, all this started when my wife died during 0 year. So Riddler is the one that Calendar Man wants, and Calendar Man takes him. And Riddler's like, and there was apparently a truce between Batman and Riddler where Batman wouldn't lay a hand on Riddler. But basically he traps Riddler in, basically he has Riddler trap himself by following along and making sure, because he's such an arrogant person. He says, oh, I don't want anybody to copy my work. So he followed along with Batman to try to stop Calendar Man, and then it turns out that the whole point of it was to trap him and basically give Calendar Man what he wants. And Batman just walks off in the end.
Alright, Futures End Swamp Thing one-shot, issue number 1, right here. And this was pretty interesting, when I read Swamp Thing. Talks about, like, how he's going on his quest out into the island. They call him, like, the Green Knight at Swamp Thing, so they gave him, like, a name. And there's this, like, voice in his head who, you know, just tells him about this girl that he once loved, and even though that she's dead, there's a picture that he shows.
Oh, Abigail Arcane.
Yeah, Abigail, yeah. Here's some artwork. And Swamp Thing said, you know, I'm gonna destroy this photo because we made a deal years ago, or a bargain actually, and he would give him the picture, in return he would have to do something for Swamp Thing. So he goes into the red Swamp Thing, and he fights off against these mystical creatures, or bacteria, so to say. And the artwork looks really nice. Even though it's a little, like, all over the place, it looks really nice, though. And they just tell Swamp Thing, you know, you imprisoned us up here with the other avatars, and said that we were the infected, and yada yada yada. And
I like the panel divisions.
Which one?
No, in all the pages that you've been going through.
Yeah, it's really good. And off on his journey, he meets up with Anton Arcane,
and he's apparently 5 years from now he's free.
Oh, Arcane. Oh, my mistake. So Swamp Thing wants to give up, says to give up the girl, and he said no because they're attached. So he brings the white ring with him, but he won't, because he can't use it. He lets someone else use it to get rid of Arcane, which was really something. And even Abigail gets some action in this as well. And it just ends where Anton is dead. Or torn apart, so to say.
Basically, Swamp Thing's making it. It's the same story that we've been seeing, that we saw from the first story arc.
But it was pretty good. It was really interesting. I would definitely say to pick this up. As if you're collecting it like we are, but it's good stuff.
Earth 2, Futures End one shot. Mr. Terrific, this is 5 years later. He's on Earth 1 now, again. and he's getting ready to sell or to put on the market the youth spheres. That's the little spheres that float around his head to the general public. However, as you can see as the book continues, that Earth 1 people don't really particularly like the people from Earth 2. Apparently the original people who were born on Earth 1 have Earth cards, and the ones from Earth 2 don't. So you get to see a lot of people who are, they call it xenophobic, I just call it stupid. They don't like anyone from Earth 2, and apparently Sloan from Earth 2 teams up with the Sloan, oh, what's his name?
So wait, there's more than one.
Terry Sloan. Terry Sloan ends up teaming up with the Sloan from Earth 1.
Okay.
And they both want to ruin Mr. Terrific, and they want his youth spheres. So they do that in this issue. They actually invent these goggles that allow Army people and everybody to see who's from Earth 2 and who's from the original Earth. And actually, they built the goggles, so they screwed with them and made it look like Mr. Terrific was from Earth 2. So in the end, basically, long story short, because I'm going to cut to the chase here, Mr. Terrific gives them what they want, in a way, and he kind of figures that in giving them what they want, they were going to turn on each other, which they did, and then we find out that the Terry Sloan from Earth 2 might not have been from Earth 2. He might be from a different Earth completely. What Earth is that from? We don't know, but we know that he's definitely fighting to protect his Earth. And that's kind of where it's left off. Long story short, I really like the characters in here, but again, if you're reading this for the Earth 2 characters, Red Tornado Lois makes an appearance, Sloan and Mr. Terrific do, but other than that, it's not really too heavy on Earth 2. I'm more excited for when Earth 2 comes back next month. But it was all in all an okay issue.
Alright, my book of the week from DC Comics of Future's End, Green Arrow one-shot, issue number 1. And this book, Green Arrow, I mean, he fooled us all when, because you remember in Future's End when they said that he was dead.
And everybody blamed Firestorm for it.
Right. Well, that all is about to change right here. First off, it has Emiko, who is a teenager now, here's Oliver Queen, 5 years later, Green Arrow. And he meets up with Emiko, and he's wounded and everything, but they're saying that, you know, we're all in terrible danger. Even Naomi, his secretary, even joins up with Emiko, and that's a shock, because I think she wanted to learn about the whole thing of being a Green Arrow, so to say. But Green Arrow goes off and says, whatever you do, don't follow me. He tells to Emiko and fights off with Shadow, which is really, well, then again, when they had that fight thing, you know, about taking Emiko and everything, you know. So Emiko fights off against Shadow, or they have a talk and everything, where villains come in, and I couldn't believe I saw,
I'm Vampire?
No. I can't, wow, why?
Vertigo?
No. Magus was in it. And the thing is that Green Arrow didn't die. Actually, and I didn't see this coming, Magnus was the shapeshifter. He could shapeshift into anything of Green Arrow, and the one that killed Green Arrow was Magus. So Green Arrow was alive all this time. I mean, now
he faked his death.
He faked his death when he fought against Deathstroke, basically. So I just don't understand why Emiko and everyone has to go back to the island. That's still unnecessary, really. But all in all, though, this was really good. I did not see that coming, even though I should have seen that coming when it happened before with the arrow, thinking Green Arrow was dead. I should have seen that. But yeah, that was really excellent. It's just amazing.
Future's End Batwing one-shot. I gotta say, this was a perfect way to send off Batwing. This is the final issue of Batwing. Batwing ended last month, but of course with the one-shots coming out, they gave Batwing one more issue. So Batwing goes undercover and brings this group of villains together, and pretending to be another villain. I forgot who he pretended to be. He pretended to be he could pretend to be a few people. But anyway, basically he set all of it up so this way he could trick all the supervillains into this one spot, which he made it look like they were going into to destroy this army from Leviathan?
Leviathan. I guess. I don't know.
Stupid. Leviathan.
Leviathan? No.
Leviathan.
Okay.
This shows how much we can read at
almost like 3 in the morning.
Anyway, enters Batman Incorporated. So apparently, Batwing is leading Batman Incorporated. They end up jailing all the supervillains. Batman, of course, gives him a pat on the head, says, "Good job." He leaves. And the ending, I'm not going to spoil, it was very heartfelt. But basically, it's a perfect way to end the Batwing series. It ends the Batwing series on a very good note. I liked it a lot. So, even though I stopped reading Batwing, I'm glad I came back for at least the one shot. It was definitely worth the read. Definitely one of the stronger books this week. Another book I enjoyed, but a lot of people didn't on Comic Frontline this week, Future's End Green Lantern issue #1. I, for one, liked it. I enjoyed the issue. Krona comes back as the new Black Hand, long story short. And he brings Hal Jordan's father back to life in order to force Hal Jordan to go into space. And it actually starts in a couple hours after the beginning of the book. Hal Jordan decides, you know what, to save his father and everybody else, he decides to go up against Krona. He doesn't want to leave Earth. After the war, he was absent throughout the entire war, and a lot of people he cared about ended up dying. So he doesn't want to leave Earth, but in the end, to stop Krona, he chooses to leave Earth. But he doesn't leave Earth alone. He goes with Relic. So apparently, somehow, Relic has been pulled out of the Source Wall. We don't know how, but Relic's out of the Source Wall. And between him and Relic, because Relic can duplicate the ring powers from all the different cores.
Right, we saw it from Lights
And
Out.
the only way to kill a Black Lantern is to combine two different rings. Hal Jordan and Relic go after Krona and all of the Black Lantern armies. He takes out most of them. Krona actually brings back, apparently some of them are fighting Krona. Hal's dad, Tomar Ray, a few others. But unfortunately they kind of get dragged into, forced into obeying Krona a bit. And Hal Jordan at the end of the issue kind of makes a grand sacrifice. And then as you can see on the cover, Hal Jordan is seconds away from death after making that sacrifice. But his father, after talking to Relic, Relic says if you put him in the Source Wall, he'll stay alive on the brink of death until there's a way to save him. And the father asks Relic, promise me you'll find a way to get him out of the wall, and when you do, you'll be able to save him. And Relic doesn't even promise it. He says, I'll try. And that's it. And Hal Jordan gets absorbed into the Source Wall, and that's the end of the issue. I thought it was good for multiple reasons. It's a lot better than what we've been getting with the Green Lantern. But all in all, it was an average book. However, this is definitely my favorite one-shot of the week. Future's End Superman Action Comics issue #1. We have all these people in Metropolis getting these superpowers, and they're like, and we don't know how, and we actually do get a little nod. I didn't even think of this until the live show, but we might actually be seeing the beginning of Donna Troy here. So this creature, or the sand person who gave all these people their powers, ends up taking them away, because some of them abuse it, some of them use it for good, but basically he was inspired by Superman, and he's trying to help other people out. And through helping other people, he got stronger. And then it goes to the end of the issue where he actually confronts Superman and tells him about all the stuff he's done, and he makes a final sacrifice, which kind of makes Superman question. You know, Clark has gone into not hiding, but he's not Superman anymore. He's helping people, as he says, on a more, he's making a difference, but now he does it quietly on a local level, meaning he doesn't do it as Superman. And this is where the being actually is telling him, you know, you always inspired hope, you inspired people, you reached out to so many people and gave them hope that, you know, he doesn't tell Superman to come back, and he says, I'm not here to tell you to come back, I'm not here to replace you, I'm just here to let you know what you mean to the world. And then the ending was really heartfelt also. He actually, Clark was trying to find a way to get some vegetation to grow in this soil, and the soil was bad. And this sand being actually sacrifices himself and makes and fixes the ground, and things start to to vegetate. And Clark's left wondering. He's like, I wonder if if the final challenge was to restore the land's full potential, or if the challenge was whether Superman or Clark is living up to his expectations, to the highest of his expectations. So you got Superman now questioning, should I go back? Am I doing the right thing? I loved this issue. This was definitely my favorite of the week. And now before we get into the weeklies, give us 2 seconds and we're going to click the button on the camera, and then we will conclude this week's comic review. Alright, we're back. And we're on the weeklies now. And guys, the weakest of this week's was New 52 Futures End issue number 18. It was completely...
Was it because Constantine was in it?
No.
Oh.
It was just all over the place, and after reading all the one-shots this week, I don't know, I just didn't feel it this week. You have Constantine trying to convince Superman to come out of hiding after we just read Action Comics, and he's like, there's an unknown being possibly coming back to Earth, and Superman's like, who would that be? And Constantine says Brainiac. You have Lois Lane finding out that it was Shazam who was pretending or standing in for Superman all this time. Things don't look good there. You have Stormguard who shows up at the very end and actually takes out Rampage, which was really good. And it turns out he's part of the current day Justice League. I like that. You have Emiko showing up on the island, which was hilarious because we just found out that Green Arrow faked his death, and now we get to see it in Future's End. However, Green Arrow's one-shot doesn't continue until...
Red Arrow's in it?
Yeah, but Green Arrow's one-shot doesn't... It doesn't go from there until issue 21, so we've got 2 or 3 more issues before we actually see any progression with Green Arrow. Cadmus Island is a complete and utter mess. You got Power Girl who's about to attack Deathstroke. And you got 50 Sue talking to none other than Brother Eye. So everything's getting shot to hell fast. And then the only scene we see with Batman, Terry McGinnis Batman, is them about to break into Terrifictech. Now, Future's End was supposed to focus on Terry and him fixing the screwed up future that's about to unfold in this very moment in time. And to me it seems like we're getting very little of Batman Beyond right now, and we're just seeing everything unfold. So, I don't know, but I'm not too comfortable with 5 years later in the DC Universe. Things look like they're going to be getting shot to hell in 5 years due to what happened in the war. Unless something happens and there's a crisis, the crisis because the Anti-Monitor showed up, you got the multiverse out there again, I don't know, but hopefully this isn't where the DC comic universe is going, because things are looking bad, very dark in the future for DC.
And finally,
Batman Eternal issue number 22, The Architect returns, and you got Hush. And Batman, by the end of this issue, figures out that it's actually Hush behind everything. She finds out what happens to Alfred, and it turns out his daughter finds out that Bruce Wayne is actually Batman, and she actually is working with Batman. I love that they put the old Bat logo actually on a computer screen in the Batcave.
oh, that's nice.
So Batman is on the streets, and he has Alfred's daughter helping him fight the Architect. He's fighting the Architect, and he finally figures out that, like I said, the Architect is working for Hush, and things are going to hell for him and Gotham really fast. And at the end of the issue, again, that's Hush.
Oh.
At the end of the issue, again, we get to see Hush. So we're now officially in the second chapter of Batman Eternal. The artwork in this book was a bit dark, but again, it took place at night. But it was still really good, actually. I did enjoy the artwork in this book. Let's see if I have another page I can show you guys.
There was one page I saw that was good, like that one. Oh, that one. That looks good.
I really enjoyed Batman Eternal this week. The development of Batman figuring out that it's actually Hush behind everything and that he's back was really good. And the development from Alfred's daughter to now probably being Penny 2, because that's what he calls her in this issue, taking over for her father while he's down and out, looks really good also. So I'm looking forward to what's to come with Batman Eternal. Definitely after the last issue, looking up, hopefully. Not last, it stays that way. So with that, guys, that's it for this comic review. Don't forget to check out comic-related Comic Frontline and Zone4Podcast.com. Together we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Feel free to leave comments below. Likes, dislikes, agree, disagree with anything we said here, recommendations, anything you'd like to say, and we will be answering your guys' comments as we're getting them. I'll be answering through my channel, Mike will be answering through his.
Yep.
And until next time, everybody, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and we will see you guys in the next review.
Hey, everybody.